40,000 tons of Russian ammunition, enough firepower to sustain their offensive for 3 months, gone in 90 seconds. The Russian soldiers stationed there never saw the rockets coming. Launched from 80 kilometers away beyond the range of any Russian counterfire. 6 rockets, 6 impacts, 1 weapon system that changed everything. M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS. When the United States announced in June 2022 it would supply these to Ukraine, Russian propaganda dismissed them as irrelevant. They were spectacularly wrong. Here's what makes HIMARS revolutionary. It's a 6-rocket launcher mounted on a 5-ton truck, light enough for air transport, mobile enough for any terrain. But mobility is just the beginning. Traditional artillery fires unguided shells with accuracy measured in hundreds of meters. HIMARS fires GPS-guided rockets that strike within 10 meters of their target from 85 kilometers away. That's 53 miles of precision reach. Each GMLRS rocket carries a 200-pound warhead. The system fires all 6 in under 40 seconds, then relocates within 5 minutes, gone before Russian counter-battery fire arrives. This combination range, precision, mobility creates a weapon that can devastate high-value targets while remaining effectively invulnerable. Russian ammunition depots that were considered safe suddenly became death traps. Command posts far behind the lines became vulnerable, and Russia's entire operational approach had to change. Late June 2022, Russia controlled nearly 20% of Ukrainian territory, grinding forward through overwhelming artillery superiority, firing tens of thousands of shells daily. But that ammunition had to be stored somewhere. July 1st, 2022, a Russian ammunition depot near Izium supplied forces attacking towards Sloviansk. It contained enough ammunition to sustain operations for weeks. At 11:47 p.m., 6 HIMARS rockets struck in rapid succession. Each rocket impacted within 15 meters of designated targets, storage bunkers, ammunition stacks, fuel storage. The precision was surgical. The effect was catastrophic. Secondary explosions continued for 6 hours. The facility was completely destroyed. Estimated losses: 15,000 to 20,000 tons of ammunition, equivalent to 3 days of intensive combat consumption across the entire front. But the physical destruction was only the beginning. Russia suddenly faced a strategic crisis. Their ammunition depots, previously safe, were now vulnerable. Russia was forced to relocate ammunition storage from 40 kilometers behind the front to beyond 100 kilometers. Transport times increased. Supply efficiency collapsed. Artillery units began experiencing ammunition shortages. The strikes continued relentlessly. July 9th, Novokakhovka Depot, obliterated. July 11th, Alchevsk Depot, destroyed. July 20th, command post near Kermarsin, struck during a meeting of senior officers. By late July, HIMARS had destroyed over 30 high-value targets. Before HIMARS, Russian forces fired 60,000 artillery shells per day. After systematic depot destruction, that rate dropped to 20,000, a 70% reduction. Ukrainian positions experienced less bombardment. Russian offensive stalled. This wasn't random destruction. Ukrainian forces, working with Western intelligence, were systematically dismantling Russia's logistics infrastructure. Satellites identified targets. Intelligence verified significance. HIMARS executed within hours. August 2022, Russian forces occupy Kherson City. Their supply lines depend on 3 critical river crossings, 2 bridges, and a dam. Ukrainian commanders understand: control these crossings, control the entire Russian position. The main Antonovsky Bridge is a fortress. Traditional artillery would require hundreds of shells to damage it significantly. HIMARS needed 6 rockets, precisely placed. Ukrainian intelligence identified the bridge's structural vulnerabilities, support pillars, and roadway deck sections. 6 GMLRS rockets, properly positioned, could render it unusable without complete destruction. A HIMARS launcher positioned 70 kilometers away received encrypted targeting data. Each rocket was pre-programmed with specific GPS coordinates, not just the bridge, but individual impact points to maximize structural damage. At 2:23 a.m., launch 6 rockets in 34 seconds. Flight time 90 seconds. While rockets flew toward target, the HIMARS crew was already relocating, gone before Russian counter-battery radar could coordinate response. Impact: 6 explosions within 11 seconds. Support pillars damaged. Roadway cratered and impassable. Approach ramps destroyed. Russian vehicles on the bridge eliminated. Russia attempted repairs. HIMARS struck the repair equipment. They built pontoon bridges. HIMARS destroyed them. Over the following weeks, the bridge was struck 4 more times, the railway bridge 3 times, and every pontoon crossing attempt was eliminated. By September, Russian forces west of the Dnipro were receiving less than 30% of required supplies. Ammunition rationed, equipment irreplaceable, medical evacuation compromised. In November, Russia evacuated Kherson entirely, the only regional capital they captured. They withdrew not because of direct combat defeat, but because HIMARS made their position logistically untenable. 6 rockets, properly placed, forced a strategic Russian withdrawal from a major city. Russian media claimed dozens of HIMARS destroyed. Independent verification found 0 confirmed losses to enemy fire in the first 18 months. 0. Why couldn't Russia stop them? HIMARS operates on perfected shoot-and-scoot doctrine. Move from concealment to firing position. Launch in under 1 minute. Relocate within 5 minutes. For Russia to destroy one, they must detect the launch, calculate position, coordinate strike assets, and execute all within 5 minutes before HIMARS is gone. Russian radars detect launches, but by the time they coordinate response, HIMARS has vanished. Russian artillery strikes empty fields. Airstrikes hit abandoned positions. Russia deployed more drones, positioned special forces teams, announced bounties for HIMARS locations. Ukrainian forces responded with decoys, inflatable and wooden replicas that looked real to reconnaissance. Russia wasted expensive precision missiles on targets made of plywood. One documented incident involved a $10 million Kinsal hypersonic missile striking a barn containing agricultural equipment and 3 decoy HIMARS replicas. Russia attempted GPS jamming to degrade HIMARS accuracy. Limited effectiveness. GMLRS rockets use inertial navigation that functions without GPS, maintaining sufficient accuracy for large targets even when jammed. Ukrainian forces adapted, identifying areas with reduced jamming and prioritizing strikes there. They also used jamming presence as intelligence. Intense jamming often revealed high-value Russian asset locations. Despite public claims that HIMARS was ineffective, Russia's actions proved otherwise. They relocated major logistics hubs over 100 kilometers from the front. They dispersed ammunition across hundreds of smaller sites. They evacuated officers from forward positions. The entire Russian operational structure was reshaped around HIMARS' threat. As the war progressed, HIMARS evolved. Early 2023 brought GMLRS extended-range rockets, increasing maximum range from 85 to 150 kilometers. Russian assets in Crimea, previously untouchable, suddenly became vulnerable. October 2023, HIMARS struck Jankoy Air Base in Crimea, 120 kilometers from Ukrainian-controlled territory. Multiple helicopters destroyed. Ammunition storage damaged. Russia could no longer consider any facility within 150 kilometers safe. Then came ATAC-EMS, Army Tactical Missile System, much larger than GMLRS. HIMARS carries only 1 or 2 ATAC-EMS compared to 6 rockets. But ATAC-EMS compensates with 300-kilometer range and 500-pound cluster warheads carrying hundreds of submunitions. ATAC-EMS proved devastating against dispersed targets like airfields. October 2023, a single ATAC-EMS strike on Luhansk airfield destroyed or damaged 9 helicopters, including rare K-52s worth $40 million each. Total damage over $400 million from one missile. Russia was forced to relocate high-value aircraft hundreds of kilometers eastward, complicating operations and reducing sortie rates. The psychological impact was profound. Nowhere within 300 kilometers of Ukrainian-controlled territory was safe. Ukrainian forces developed innovative tactics, using HIMARS for counter-air missions, striking aircraft on the ground rather than engaging them in flight, far more cost-effective than air-to-air combat. By 2024, Ukrainian forces had integrated HIMARS with NATO intelligence networks, satellites, signals intelligence, high-altitude surveillance. This created kill chains measured in minutes, target identification to weapon impact in 10 to 15 minutes. Time-sensitive targets, command meetings, ammunition convoys, refueling aircraft were eliminated before they could disperse. By late 2023, HIMARS had destroyed or damaged over 400 high-value Russian targets. Russia possesses its own multiple rocket launchers, the Smerch and Tornado S, with similar range. So why has HIMARS been so much more effective? 3 reasons: precision, survivability, and integration. HIMARS achieves 10-meter accuracy. Russian systems, even modern variants, have accuracy measured in dozens to hundreds of meters. HIMARS destroys a specific building with 6 rockets. Russian systems require 30 to 50 rockets for equivalent effect. HIMARS can fire and displace in 5 minutes. Russian systems require 15 to 20 minutes to prepare, fire, and relocate. In counter-battery warfare, those extra minutes are often fatal. Ukrainian forces have destroyed dozens of Russian launchers through counter-battery operations. HIMARS losses to counter-battery fire, 0, and HIMARS operates within a comprehensive NATO intelligence network. Russian systems lack comparable integration. The lesson is clear. Modern warfare isn't about having weapons with impressive specifications. It's about precision, integration, training, and doctrine. HIMARS succeeds because it's the most effectively employed system on the battlefield. Military forces worldwide are studying these lessons. Poland ordered over 400 HIMARS launchers. Australia, Romania, Estonia made purchases. Japan is reconsidering artillery doctrine entirely. Several profound lessons have emerged. First, precision defeats mass. 6 accurate rockets achieve more than 600 poorly aimed shells. Second, integration is everything. HIMARS succeeds as part of a network, not in isolation. Third, mobility equals survivability. In an era of ubiquitous sensors, static positions are death sentences. Fourth, deep strike changes strategic calculus. When commanders can strike hundreds of kilometers deep, there is no safe rear area anymore. These lessons are reshaping military doctrine globally. Future conflicts may be won not by the side with the largest military, but by the side with the most advanced precision strike capabilities and best intelligence integration. In warfare history, certain weapons transcend their specifications to become symbols of transformation. The longbow at Agincourt, the machine gun in World War I, the aircraft carrier in World War II. HIMARS has joined this legacy. Over 2 years of operations, HIMARS destroyed hundreds of high-value Russian targets. But its true impact goes beyond physical destruction. HIMARS forced Russia to fundamentally reorganize their entire military operation around the threat of precision strikes. Ammunition depots pushed beyond 100 kilometers from the front. Command posts relocated constantly. Supply operations dispersed and complicated. Artillery positioned cautiously. Air assets withdrawn from forward bases. All because of one weapon system Russia initially dismissed. For Ukraine, HIMARS became a symbol of resilience and technological superiority, proof that a smaller nation could defend itself through innovation and determination. For Russia, it became a nightmare they couldn't counter, couldn't destroy, and couldn't ignore. For military planners worldwide, HIMARS became proof that the future of warfare lies in precision, integration, and speed, not mass and brute force. The lessons learned here will shape military doctrine for decades. As the war continues, HIMARS remains operational, striking targets, degrading Russian capabilities, enabling Ukrainian operations. Each launch is a reminder that modern warfare has changed, that the invisible battlefield of sensors, networks, and precision fires has become as decisive as the visible battlefield of troops and tanks. This is the new face of war, surgical, calculated, devastating. And it's being written in the trails of GPS-guided rockets launched from platforms that arrive, strike, and vanish before the enemy can respond. Welcome to Precision Strike Warfare. This is how modern wars are won. Thank you for watching this analysis of HIMARS operations in Ukraine. Stay informed, stay analytical. We'll see you in the next documentary.